What if I told you that negotiations start way before the first offer? I'm Kevin Goldman, the chef realtor, Calabasas, San Fernando Valley, Conejo Valley real estate expert. And by the end of this video, you'll understand how you can win your negotiations. This first tactic works time and time again. The first tactic, that falls on me, and that's really building a relationship with the listing agent. The first thing that I want to do is I really want to get a chance to know the realtor, not just show up like, hey, tell me about this house. Strike up the conversation. Maybe I'll do a little bit of research on them and maybe go to their website, find out a little bit about them, some of their past sales, and maybe just fluff them up a little bit. How can I really become a little bit more memorable with the listing agent? How can I endear myself and my clients to them in case they really do love the property and they want to submit an offer and maybe can't be as competitive as everyone else, but really love the property? How can I play to their emotions a little bit and help them fight for us to get our offer accepted? Full disclaimer, that does not mean any sort of bribery is going on. Solely just establishing a working relationship and some familiarity with the listing agent to endear myself and my clients to them and go to bat for my clients. For instance, it's a difficult situation when a buyer is dealing with a client who is contingent on purchasing the property. Contingent of purchase means that the buyer is contingent on selling and closing successfully on their property in order to take those proceeds and roll them into the next property. They need to sell their house first in order to buy their second house. There's all these moving parts in order to keep everything copacetic and kosher. So one of the ways I was able to secure that was I just struck up conversation with the agent. She's been around for a long time. She's seen it all. And how can I really play to the advantage of getting my client's offer accepted? It helped that the property had been on the market for a while. I could tell that she was a little exhausted. She was just like, I guess I'll just show the property and just see what happens. I made her laugh. We were energetic at the property. My clients, their energy and their body language was showing this listing agent that they were serious and they were really liking the property. So by default, she started getting a little sparkle in her eye and was starting to get some energy flowing back into her about that property and telling her they've lived in this house that they're selling for quite a while. I know that it's not the most appealing of situations, but I think that they're gonna do whatever they can to get this. I know that you're maybe not as energetic about it. Maybe your sellers are a little annoyed with the state of the market, but what can we do? Where do we have to be in order to make this a success for everyone? I was able to save my clients over $150,000. This second tactic is so powerful that it changes to put the leverage in your favor. This tactic is the bread and butter as to why I was able to hold this transaction together. One of the things that as a chef I was taught is the details. Live in the details, because those details and that consistency matters. Part of the detail is making sure that when I'm submitting the offer package is absolutely complete. The agent was so impressed by the package that I put together. I'm in my 4th year and she was so surprised at how clean and tidy and organized my offer package was. She said better than most people that have been in the business for 20 years. I created a personal file and I organized everything. Pre-qualification letter, offer, proof of funds, everything is in there. On the offer, I make sure that all the names of the people who are selling the property are clearly stated. If it's a trust or an LLC or some sort of corporation, I find out, again, the MLS, we can go and look at the tax records and see how the property is written out on title and taxes. And I make sure that everything is spelled out perfectly, confirm that with the listing agent, and I make sure that everything on that offer is dialed in. I write a nice letter or email summarizing all of the components of the offer, all of the inner workings and details of the offer that we're submitting, and I include the contact information for my client's lender, and I find out the information for that listing agent's transaction coordinator, their title, their escrow company, and I CC all of them if they would like me to CC them on this offer. Once our offer is accepted, over the course of the entire transaction, there might be sub emails or new emails that are written out, and those might detail other negotiations or just other information. And I always make sure that the listing agent's transaction coordinator is CC'd on there on every single email, because the transaction manager, they manage the transaction, the timelines, and they need to be in the know of everything. They really are the bread and butter to why most transactions work, because us as agents, we're in the field and we don't have the time to just sit in front of our computer for 8 hours a day and manage a transaction. They're keeping all the ducks in a row. This final tactic is my secret weapon. This tactic goes hand in hand with establishing a relationship with the listing agent. As a buyer's agent, it's our duty to gather as much information as possible so that I can get the best purchase price for my client. And one of the ways I'm able to do that is by asking as many questions as possible. And it's not just standard boilerplate questions. It's just asking random questions about the property, while also making comments about what we love about the property, and not just asking interrogating questions about the status of the property and everything. It's, oh, we really love this. How'd they do this over here? How'd they really get this aesthetic? Or who was the designer? Who was the architect that really drew up these plans, and how are they able to really do this? By asking creative questions like that about the design process, you're kind of able to get a feel for the quality of the property, and if you might come across any potential issues during inspections. He or she who asks the questions controls the conversation. And by asking the right questions in the right time and the right way, and not just asking questions as a detective, but like from a state of empathy and curiosity, you're able to really endear yourself to the listing agent and show that you care. They might be more willing to give you more information to, unfortunately for them, use leverage against them in negotiations. There you have it. 3 super special tactics that can transform you from just one other buyer to the one who gets the keys. Negotiations isn't just about money, it's about understanding what's motivating the sellers.